My big task for today, unfortunately, is moving hotels. I had planned to go to another city by train, but because of the festival, all the trains are fully booked, and I wasn't able to get out of Yangon by train. I could have gone by bus, but I just thought, I'll just stay here in Yangon over the festival days, wait until all the traffic dies down, and then I can leave. And again, I'm in no huge hurry anyway. But since I was planning to leave, I did not book my hotel room ahead of time for those days. And then when I got back to the hotel and tried to book some extra days, they told me I couldn't. My room had been reserved out from under me. So I had to find a new place to stay. So since I couldn't stay at the Soleil Sapphire anymore, I had to find a new place to stay. And that was a little bit of a struggle for me because it turned out I got quite a good deal on this room for who knows why. Maybe Booking.com had a sale that day. But as I pointed out, I mean, I had air conditioning and a private bathroom, really nice, kind of small but modern room for $9 a night. And when I started looking for other places to stay, most of the rooms were nearly double that, and that would be for a shared bathroom, like with nothing. So anyway, I did a lot of searching around, and I really wanted to stay in this neighborhood because this is my favorite part of Yangon, but I couldn't really find a place to stay here. So I ended up booking a room at the Lotus Hospitality Bed and Breakfast. I stayed there before, and it's a really nice place. They make an amazing breakfast, really good value for the room. So, you know, it's a basic room, but with a private bathroom, air conditioning, Wi-Fi, that kind of thing. And like I said, they have an amazing breakfast there. It's called Lotus Hospitality, and that's partially because they're connected with a hospitality school, like a school where they train people for hotels and tourism, customer service, that kind of thing. So this hotel, Lotus Hospitality, is kind of a testing ground for all their ideas about, you know, proper hotel management and that kind of thing. So it's a really a great place to stay. The one problem with it for me is it's on the other side of Soleil Pagoda, you know, a few blocks in that direction. And when I stayed there last time, I found myself walking back and forth constantly. I would walk to this neighborhood to spend my day here, and then at night walk all the way back to Lotus Hospitality. It's not really that far, maybe a kilometer away. But anyway, that's where I'm going today. I did check out the Garden Guest House again, which is this old dumpy place right beside Soleil Pagoda. And in fact, it's my preferred kind of place. I love these places that are in old buildings, just big, blocky cement rooms, nothing fancy, not a tourist place, not a backpacker place, just an old hotel that's been around for decades. And I went back there to look at the room again, and to be honest, I would have taken a room there. I mean, it's pretty unpleasant, kind of smelly, kind of dirty. Very old, but you couldn't beat the location. I love the atmosphere of that old dumpy style. But the problem was there was no Wi-Fi in the rooms. So I had my own bathroom and that kind of thing, but there was no Wi-Fi available in the rooms. And that at the moment is kind of a deal breaker for me. So I couldn't stay there. I'd also booked a room, in fact, at a place called the Backpacker Hostel, mainly because I could get a single room there at a fairly good price. And I had a reservation there all the way up until this morning, actually. But I was never happy with staying there because it's such a classic backpacker place. I mean, it's even called the Backpacker Hostel, and there's a huge sign on the front of someone who looks like me wearing a big backpack. So it's got that young backpacker tourist kind of vibe. Mainly dormitories, so tons and tons of these big rooms with bunk beds built into the walls. It has a very high rating, but the high rating comes mainly from people who like the dorm rooms. They're actually quite nice, I guess. But in the end, I went back to Lotus Hospitality. Again, it was really mainly because of the price of it, because my single room with shared bathroom, very basic in accommodation at Backpacker Hostel, was something like $11 a night. At Lotus Hospitality, I was able to book a private single room with a private bathroom with an amazing breakfast for, I believe, $14 a night. So for an extra $3 a night, I get my own bathroom, modern bathroom, with an amazing breakfast in the morning, and that seemed worth $3 to me. So I booked a room at Lotus Hospitality. Long story, ending. This is the name of the street where the Sule Sapphire Inn guest house is located, Bo Sun Pat Road. And I was trying to learn the history of this name. I'm assuming that Bo Sun Pat was a famous person in Myanmar's history, but so far I haven't been able to track down the name. I find the naming of streets in Yangon, or Myanmar in general, is kind of interesting, because originally most of the streets here, the major streets, were named after British colonial officials, British army officers, government officials. And for me as a Canadian, all those names are so easy to remember and so easy to pronounce. I was reading an article about that over breakfast this morning, and I still have some of the street names in front of me here. So for example, one of the main streets here was called Fraser Road. But after independence, it was named Anarata Road. Sparks Street, very easy to remember for a Canadian, became Bo Ang Kyoa. What are some others? Fair Road became Bogyoke Ong San, or Bojok Ong San. Bar Street, simple, ordinary Bar Street, became Mahabandula Street. Dalhousie Road became Mahabandula Road. And let's see if we can find one more interesting one. Here's one. Monk Street. M-O-N-K, Oh, my hotel is on Monk Street. Easy to remember. And it became Fonegi Street. So you may have noticed in my videos since I came to Yangon, I have a heck of a time with names. I can't remember them, I can't pronounce them, I'm always struggling with them because the local names just don't fit into my brain and they don't roll off my tongue so easily. And of course all the British colonial names are just simple and easy to me. Bank Street, Bar Street, Sparks Street, Dalhousie Road, all very familiar names. But after independence, of course, they got rid of all the colonial names, changed them to local names. So yeah, it's an interesting part of Yangon's history. I feel like I'm not finished with this neighborhood at all. So I suspect that I will be walking back and forth from Lotus Hospitality to this part of Yangon several times over the next couple of days. When I was reading the article about names, I came across the fact that Yangon used to be called Dagon, D-A-G-O-N, and you see that name Dagon all over the place. There's a little spot right across the road here called Dagon Beverages, and that is the very old name of Yangon. And then at some point, one of the many, many kings in Myanmar's history conquered this place, and he renamed it Yangon, which means something like the end of strife, or the end of enemies, the end of fighting, that kind of thing. Because as a conqueror, he conquered the place, and now everything's going to be peaceful now that he's in charge. So he named it End of Strife, Yangon. saying goodbye to the Soleil Sapphire Inn in my favorite neighborhood here in Yangon, and heading off towards Lotus Hospitality, maybe a kilometer away. I'm walking by Soleil Pagoda again. Another beautiful day, blue skies, white clouds. This is where all the pigeons hang out. And this is the other guest house that I was considering, the Garden Guest House. And I would stay there, except for the fact that they don't have a Wi-Fi in the room. In every single way, that place, you know, the Garden Guest House is a bad place. Old and dirty and smelly and somewhat expensive for what you get. But I kind of like old and smelly and dirty. Hello. And I love the location. I mean, if I were staying there, I'd already be there. I wouldn't have to walk any farther. And I kind of like the simplicity of those big hulking cement structures. I feel at home there. But no Wi-Fi means I can't stay there. No matter how many times I walk by the Soleil Pagoda, it always strikes me as a astonishing sight right here in the middle of the city. How many times do you see a pagoda like that as a main roundabout for a major city? That was very cool. And I guess the British set it up that way. When they redesigned the city, you know, they set up all the roads on a grid pattern to go around this exact spot. So you can see we've entered kind of a quieter part of downtown. Not as much street traffic here. And this is where my new guest house is located. Lotus Hospitality. It's just up ahead. Even walking down those busy streets took me about 12 minutes, I guess, to walk here from where I was. So it's not that bad. I would prefer to stay in that neighborhood. I like it better. But for a whole bunch of other reasons, I ended up back here at Lotus Hospitality. And here it is here. From the outside, it's not going to look like very much. And it is a very basic kind of place. It's one of these places that for me is greater than the sum of its parts. You know, there's the building there, and there's the Lotus School of Hospitality up on top. And this is the entrance into the hotel, or the B&B as they call it.
Hello.
Hello.
Do you have food?
Oh, it's okay. It's oh, there you're coming down to shake my hand. It's on my back.
Your water?
Hmm?
Drink your water?
Sure. Yeah, it would be great. Okay.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
Fine, how are you?
Good. Good.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Over there. Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Hello again.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Help you your bag?
Oh, I can take it off. It's
Yep.
it's a little bit heavy.
No problem.
You're strong. Ah, thank you. Yeah, it's a little bit hot outside. Did you see my name on the reservation?
I see your booking to Agoda.
All right.
How's the day?
My day? Okay, I was at a different hotel in like Chinatown area, and then things got confusing. I was going to leave Yangon, but then I couldn't get a train ticket because of the festival.
Sure.
So then I
You
needed
have to stay a little bit longer here.
Yeah. So I came back to my favorite place. So here I am in my room at Lotus Hospitality. I'm all checked in. When I first showed up, there was a young man behind the counter who was not the woman that I dealt with before. And he also seemed to be a student or trainee from the hospitality school. And the owner of the place was sitting nearby. So there was a little bit of confusion there. The poor guy, I felt sorry for him because he's dealing with me and I'm all chatty and delaying the process. And the owner knew me very well as a return guest, and I guess for a returning guest, there's a lot of things you don't have to do. Like you don't have to show your passport, you know, you don't have to fill out the form. They have all that information on the computer already. They don't have to give me Wi-Fi because it's already loaded into my phone, you know, all these things. But the poor trainee, you know, he's trying to go through the stages that he knows as how you properly check in a guest. And then the owner kept saying to him, no, 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 you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. So it was like the poor guy was making all kinds of mistakes, but he wasn't really. He was just trying to do his job. And at the end of the check-in, the woman that I know as the manager, she showed up. She came back. She was out with her son running some errands, so she is still here. And when I came up the stairs, a young man that I know who works in the restaurant area and cleaning the rooms, he recognized me right away, and he came running down the stairs. He wants to take my backpack, and he got me a glass of a cold water right away. So amazing service here at Lotus. Really nice people. Room tour, you know, small room, not a whole lot to show. But I find the room is just nice. I mean, it has a single bed, but it's not like it's jammed in, you know, with no room around it. There's a nice space beside it, which I like. And not a big deal, but just having this little, you know, bedside arrangement with drawers right there is nice. You know, having the counter behind you and the window is nice. There's a table over here with a chair, you know, which is very convenient. They supply a bottle of water, towel, very nice bedding. Again, all the guest houses in Myanmar have such nice bedding. And again, I'm not used to that from recent travels. Another really nice touch for this hotel, I find, is they have both the air conditioning and a fan. Most places, if they have an air conditioning, like an air conditioner, they will not have a fan because why would you need one? You have an air conditioner. But quite often you don't want to run the full air conditioner. You don't need it, or people don't like the cold air that much. All you need is a fan, you know, so you can kind of, and sleeping at night, you may not want the air conditioner blasting all night. Perhaps you even want to save energy, and then you can just run the fan. I like having that choice. And here's the bathroom, very basic, but perfectly clean, perfectly adequate, has a hot water, and they supply, you know, toothbrush with toothpaste, and like a lot of hotels here have a shower gel and shampoo in dispensers. My new backpack performed very well on that short walk, or it was like a 15-minute walk, I guess, door to door, and I ended up putting almost all of my gear in the backpack right now. So my computer is in there, all of my chargers and adapters, my Panasonic camera, extra lenses. So there's really nothing in my day pack at all. It's just empty, except for my GoPro case. So the backpack was much heavier this time than it was when I came from the airport. And yet walking along with it was absolutely fine. Had I had all that weight in a duffel bag like I did before, it would have been brutal. It would have been agony trying to carry that. But with all the weight resting on your hips because of the waist belt and the suspension harness, yeah, it was great. And I'm slowly adapting to this. I love this pocket up at the top. So now up here, the things that you pack at the last minute, you know, it's very convenient to have this space because you fill your bag up and now you're ready to leave the hotel room, but you often have one or two items, you know, that you still need to pack in. And instead of opening up the whole bag again, you stuff them in here. So I've got my, you know, my bedside bag with my earplugs and alarm clock and all those things, you know, just goes there beside the bed. And then I have my, you know, toiletries kit right here. I just slide it in there. You know, so all the little things can just go into this space here. And you can even put valuable things in there. I was actually walking along with my passport bag tucked away in there. So this is where I was keeping my passport right now, and I put it in there. And you might think that isn't very secure, but you'll notice that the zippered part faces your back. It's not, you know, on the open, you know, it's not on the open back of the backpack, you know, where anybody could open it. It's actually right behind your head. So it's actually much more, you know, secure than you'd think it would be. So yeah, there we are. It worked out very well. Okay. So that's it, my new home. Back at Mahandabula Park, that beautiful government building there. City Hall over on my left over here. I feel bad every time I walk by Sule Pagoda because there's often a young man there, or several young men. They act as guides and they're waiting for foreigners, you know, to show up here. They usually want to take me to Dala, that region, you know, across the river. And so they introduce themselves to me and ask if I, you know, need a guide to go around the city. And I feel bad because I usually don't. And I chat with him for a few minutes and then tell him that I'm sorry, but I can't be his customer today, is what I told him. I must not look very fresh today, because when that young man came running up to me, you know, to offer his services as a guide, he ran up to me and he looked in my face, and the first thing he said, he kind of stopped and he said, "Oh, you look so tired, sir. You look so hot and so tired." So I had to agree with him. Yeah, I'm pretty hot and I'm feeling a little bit tired. This is never an easy street to cross either. There's a constant stream of vehicles turning left. So even though there's a pedestrian crosswalk signal, it doesn't mean you can just go. You gotta wait till all the cars finish, and then you can go.